Morning. Gotta run back out. Sorry.
Splash cranberry.
Hey, you look better in your uniform than you do in a t-shirt.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Howdy, honey. One second.
Oh,
Good to see you.
you brothers asked about
Hey. Fuller, how are you today?
Fine, man. Good to see you.
Great to see you too.
Jane said give you that.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get me some wings, right? Hey, man.
Always a pleasure.
Always, me too. Is Mama coming today?
No, she's actually, I got a physical therapist appointment. I'm going to be there at 12.
Oh, wow.
He's coming a couple times a week to help her keep range of motion and move things around.
Yeah, well, you know, Jane's doing that with
Yes,
his
there you
shoulder.
go.
I had to go through it
Yeah,
at the nursing home.
because the things will get stiff on you.
Well, I couldn't walk.
No, I guess you couldn't right after.
I
Man,
couldn't.
God. Hey, you know what?
They got me walking with a walker within 3 days. I'd just been off the walker about 2 months.
My word. That hadn't been long at all. Joy's daughter Laurie was in a freaking coma in
Who was?
in middle Georgia. Her youngest daughter Laurie.
Yeah.
Her brittle diabetic daughter who was in. God, when she was a child, she's one of the ones that was here in Hapeville in that nursery explosion fire. Remember
Yeah.
that thing way back where they go work and hit a gas line?
Yeah.
Like in the 60s, or the late 60s, something like that. I missed that because I was at a different kindergarten. If I'd been there, I'd have been in the middle of that fire. Her daughter was one that got thrown out the window.
Really?
Yeah, on fire herself.
No
Thrown out the
kidding.
window by someone
Really?
else who died, saving more kids.
No kids.
So this is this daughter, and she's had this strange life. She spent all this time down at Grady with her in Burn Ward.
I don't
This is
guess that's
50
the one
years
I
ago.
met.
Laurie? Probably not. I'm not sure. You could have met
Her and her
Laurie or
husband
Carol.
was visiting y'all one time.
It was Carol you met, and that's her oldest. Yeah.
She was a pretty lady too.
Yeah. Carol's got it going on. She's the one that's like a VP with T-Mobile down in Florida.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That is
She
smart.
went to Duke. Yeah. So her husband went to Tech. So they're a couple of engineers.
Yeah.
Smart people, had a lot of science in the family.
Yeah.
But her youngest daughter Laurie though, she's better. She was in a coma again.
You doing okay?
Almost 2 months, and she's out of it and she's better and she's back. She's home.
Well, you know my wife went into a couple.
I'm doing. How about in your family? How
You doing
about
okay?
your daughter? I'm doing well. I'm okay.
You know, my daughter moved in.
I heard about that. I was wondering how you were doing. I wasn't going to ask about her. Figured she's doing fine.
Yeah, she's doing fine. I mean, she's Ms. Astor, you know.
Just ask her.
No, Ms. Astor.
Oh, Ms. Astor. Yes. Well,
That too. You can just ask her. She's doing fine because she's got no rent,
of course.
food. She don't have to work. She just whenever she wants to. Beautiful.
You could have her go out there and clean the yard. I could use some firewood or something. Make it.
Gene was waving at you.
Oh, okay. I'll go see what he's got going.
Yes,
So that's what my parents did. I was always 4, and they just started making it unpleasant for us to stay around.
Yeah.
Hey, can you help me with this? Yeah. And no sooner set it down, get ready to sit down. I got something. Can you help me? So a few weeks of that, and okay, I'm getting my own place. You can pull out your desk if you
Oh,
want to.
I've got it written on the wall.
Oh, okay. All right.
thank you.
FBI looking for you again?
No, it said Yahoo is not going to support
Oh, we're using Windows 7, so we need to upgrade it to Windows 10.
Yeah.
We can do that. I've got it. In fact, someone sent me a link last week where when they're trying to charge people to get Windows 10 now. They would give it away free if they did it 2 years ago. But now they're trying to charge people up to $1,550. They left the link active on their website from 3 years ago when they found it.
Get out.
So I've been spreading it. Yeah, then you get one of the hackers. You have a reputation to make.
No, I don't think so.
And I'll fix the name tag. Hey, doing good. How you doing?
I will when I announce it.
Yeah, I know. I want you to see it. Oh, good.
Sure. I don't know that concept. I must go along. Thank you. I got one of these. Thank you. I'll bring yours back.
Thank you.
I was trying to see.
See, he's got your.
Yeah, no, we're playing. How are you? Good. How's the golf? There you go. There you go. You're doing better than me. One on the left. They moved where they live I don't know. Okay, well, Georgia.
Hey, Tommy. Doing good. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Next meeting.
Where's Mary?
She's going to tell Mary that heart attack last week. She's a people's sister. She's doing good in that mother releases rehabilitation right now. He's going to make that one go. Yes, sir.
I didn't know what somebody said at the table. I was like, this Whatever y'all want to do.
Hey, where's, you know that woman?
That's the way I want it. Usually it's a blessing.
Hey, what about what is that? There's that down there? You ordered it.
I grew up all exactly. You just, you know, like any given So I think
What problem?
Hey, the way I am now, I don't know anybody, I just come to eat. We had our 25th back here in the we did one, we had she's at a doctor's
How'd you get that? I never really been, but I Here comes up. His life, and he had a car down there. That dog, they were so tall.
And then the ladies, the gentlemen, will stay downstairs.
Well, the last time I even saw got right on. Some guy was hit this ball.
Do you want a fried frisbee? You want a fried frisbee?
I'm real dizzy. I took a pain pill.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Do you have meclizine to take for that? Meclizine stops the dizzy.
No, that pill makes me dizzy.
Right, but I'm Jordan has to take meds to take. Make sure that if she takes meclizine, it's like a motion sickness pill, and it'll fix it. I'll bring some over to you.
No, I'm
Too cold. Everybody's still bundled up, moving slow.
They're still coming though.
They're still coming though, yeah.
I won't sit down.
Okay. I think it's all the parties at 8 you're waiting for with their reserved tables.
Class 57, where do I sign up?
I think you're already signed up. I'm not sure. Gene's it's Gene's show.
Julie Lamb?
Are you sitting here? Okay. I'm just trying to keep up with all the weight. Oh, do something. I'm sorry. What did you want to try? Bobby, what did you want to drink?
I'll make water in here in a minute. about an 86? Yeah, 2 more years. 88. I'll be usually.
They were just looking for something.
So you all hit yeah, 98, 99%. I finally learned to walk. I couldn't walk. How big were the limbs? Some kind of way.
Something like that, and the gospel I don't care about
Okay. We didn't think you were going to make it. Yeah, man. Hey there. Look,
Georgia. He got tech written all over.
That she is. I started to holler.
Is it hot? I mean,
Spicy hot. It's temperature hot, it's not that spicy hot.
I don't know what here I said. I hope they got two that I need to think about. I might just put you with it.
She'll have to do it, because I'm just running.
No shit.
I'll just take it at this time.
The stamps, to mail your invitation.
You got a 5 in there? It's about 50 cents.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the way up here. Okay.
I just think cold was one of them all. And you rain. I always like it.
I'll be with you in just a second. We got this going on. If you want to go next, we got so, and it's probably going to be like at least 30, 45 minutes. We have another market next door, and we don't have. We have a big reunion going on right now. So that's all.
Can you make it all right? Yeah.
Have you ordered yet?
Waiting for you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. Can you hear it out there, Julia?
I can.
Let me have your attention, please. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for coming out. It's a little bit chilly, but a beautiful day. I thought we'd have more people. Maybe they'll still come in.
Finish drinking off?
I want to thank Larry and Donna and all the crew for helping us out with the budget. Scott is going to be filming back in the back.
You're fading out, Gene.
Stanley Smith is making pictures all over. Almost, okay. Julian Glass is going to be helping us introduce everybody here today. We also want to thank Bobby for bringing all the pens and tape and name tags. Betty Barnett, where's Betty? she's passing the bucket around for collection so we can get ready for stamps. Incidentally, it takes a little over 2 rolls of stamps, and stamps are $55 a roll. Now that's Jess Lucas. Are you ready, Jess? Yeah. Jess, go tell us about our dance and fitness.
You go, Bob.
Oh, I need to go.
Water?
Julie, can you help Betty with her thing? She's having a hard time.
Can you hear me now? Okay, first before I do this, we'd just like to make an announcement that Jean's sister Miriam is in Piedmont Hospital, so keep her in your prayers, please. Okay, we've got more than I would like to have this morning of those folks, alumni who have passed away. Well, I was doing my best. How about now? Okay. So anyway, I was right there. Okay. The first is Fred Hayward. He's a class of 1958. His sister, Myra, is alumni of 1955. Bill Calhoun, class of 1951. His wife, Joyce Blankenship, class of 53. Catherine Hardy Say, class of 55. Gene Paixo, class of 55. His brother was Roger, who has since passed away. His wife is Jan Drake Paixo. She was class of 56. Wanted to mention that Roy Gibson, although not a Hapeville High School graduate, was mayor of Hapeville, and he passed away at the age of 96. Also, Jimmy Saxton is class of 1956. And this last one is just an interesting thing to me anyway. How many of you have ever heard of Ty Pennington? Ty Pennington had a program on ABC called Extreme Makeover, and did a lot of that before the Fixer Uppers came on. Well, Ty's original name was Gary Burton Jr., and his mother left his father not long after he was born, and she married a guy named Pennington, and he took that name. And his father, Gary Burton Sr., graduated from Hapeville High School in 1959. I just thought that was interesting. That's it. Hopefully we don't have that many more next time.
Junior, can you maybe start into, I was hoping we get some more people in before we started, but Junior and Glass is going to come around and each one of you can tell who you are and what year you graduated. You went to Hapeville High. Yeah.
Put it on your chin right here.
Okay. Real short announcements. Everybody enjoy meeting here every 3 months. Well, I've got something I'd like to read. It just keeps Gene Norton, in appreciation of all you do to keep us connected. And this is from Hapeville High School alumni.
Good job.
Thank you, Bobby. That's a surprise. Thank you. I'll hang that in the home where everybody can see. I'm Gene Norton, class of 46, and Junior will take it over. What class? You went to
1986. So speak loudly and put the mic right at your lips, please.
1968.
Carol Cobb, Headland High School, 1966.
Catherine Hall, class 46.
Diane Kirkland Williamson, class of 64. Nancy Eves Kinsey, class of 64.
Carol Rivers, 58.
Wayne Gare, 59. Renly Norris, graduating in 1958.
58. Gerald Gay, class of 67.
Glenn Summers, class of 1967.
Brother Wiles, class of 1970, but only made it to 68.
Jerry Taylor, class of 57.
Tommy Smith, class of 1960.
That's Tommy Smith of 60.
Jan Latham, class of 70. Susan Talley, class of 76.
Oh, you're not
Nancy Hall, Tommy's groupie.
Tommy Hall, class of 49. I don't know when you were reading off this. Dorothy Hammond, who was in class of 49, passed away.
Dorothy Hammond?
Don Hammond, yeah.
Don Hammond?
Don.
You said Don?
Don, yeah.
Okay. You got that?
Stanley Smith, class of 57.
Scott Whitaker, class of 77.
Bobby Wingo, class of 46.
Betty McCord Barnett, class of 44.
Bob Fuller, Russell High School, 54.
Bobby Gillum, Southwest High School, 3.
Jess Lucas, class of 55.
Linda Bramblett, class of 68.
Tom McDonald, 1948.
Barbara Terrell McDonald, I went to Forest Park High School, finished in 48.
Mayor Patrick Hapeville, 49.
Ben Weinberg, Riverwood High School, 1980.
Ben Weinberg, also of Hapeville High School, 1943.
Gloria Nash Holder, Hapeville High School, 1943. Younger than springtime.
Julius, give it to Gloria Holder, if you will.
And of course, Julian Glantz, 1986.
Gloria Holder, are you ready? Gloria's going to give us our invitation.
That's exactly right. Yes. Okay, now I got it. Oh, is Harold still hanging in there? I know.
I guess, he's in an assisted living memory, well, I'm in a memory care facility. He doesn't even recognize David, his son, now.
Yeah, that's right.
May we pray?
In the 90s, we were in the same little club together. So we knew each other really well.
May we pray?
Prayer, please!
Our glorious and loving Heavenly Father, may we thank you for this gathering. We enjoy seeing each other, having fellowship together. Bless this meeting, bless this food to our bodies. May we serve you better and bless the hands who prepared it. and may we have a safe trip home. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you, Gloria. I want to make an announcement. One of our speakers today has the flu. Stephen. She said that she couldn't believe she's so sorry. So Ben Weinberg, Julia, Ben Weinberg, up here front, please.
I know you got shots of us last time. Not the last meeting, because you missed that meeting before that. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Broke your camera. You had to get a new one. Oh.
Give me that smile.
Yeah, get another new one.
All right, everybody. I expect most of you will recall from your high school literature courses that the phrase, the best laid plans of mice and men gang off to glade. Oh, that gang off to glade means goes off on a stray. And I'm going to tell you a little, that was a poem that was written by Robert Burns in 1785. And I'm going to tell you a story that illustrates how that works even later. There was a couple that lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the weather is worse than here today, or yesterday. And they decided to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary by going back down to Miami Beach, Florida, the place that they had spent their honeymoon, and they delightfully wanted to thaw out a little bit from the winter. It was January. And so they went to a warmer climate, and they made reservations to stay at the very same hotel in Miami Beach where they had spent their honeymoon 25 years earlier. Because of conflicting work schedules, they experienced difficulty in coordinating their travel arrangements. As it developed, the husband left Minnesota and flew to Florida on a Thursday, and his wife was going to fly down on the following day, Friday. The husband checked into the hotel, and since he had a smartphone with him, he decided to send an email to his wife confirming his safe arrival. However, when sending the email to his wife in Minneapolis, he accidentally changed one letter in her email address, and without realizing it, he sent them email. Meanwhile, somewhere in Savannah, a new widow, along with her adult son, had just returned home from her husband's funeral. He had been a minister of a large church there for many years prior to his sudden death from a heart attack. She entered the house while her adult son was putting their car away, and she decided to check her emails since she was expecting messages from relatives and friends. However, after she seated herself at the desk, when she read the first message, she fainted, falling from the chair in which she was seated to the floor. Her son, hearing the sound of her fall, rushed in, finding his mother lying there, and then saw the following message on her computer screen. It read, "To my loving wife, subject, I've arrived. Date, Tuesday, 15 January 2019. I know you wanted to hear from me. I've just arrived and have checked in. I see that everything has been prepared for your arrival tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you then, and I hope your journey is as uneventful as mine was. P.S. It sure is hot down here." Now the next story I want to tell is about a fellow named Noah Sweat. He was a very outstanding sort of fellow in Mississippi back years ago. And in 1952, in his only session only membership in the Mississippi State Legislature, he made a speech which has achieved a considerable bit of notoriety. And let me tell you a little bit about him first. Sweat was elected to the House in 1947 at the age of 24. He served only one term, at the end of which he delivered his speech, which I'm going to get to in just a minute. He subsequently pursued his career in law. Judge Sweat was the founder of the Mississippi Judicial College of the University of Mississippi Law Center. The writer, John Grisham, worked as his assistant as a law student in 1980. He died in 1996 in Alcorn County, Mississippi, after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. The whiskey speech. This speech concerned the question of the prohibition of alcoholic liquor, a law that was still in force in Mississippi at that time. And here's the speech. My friends, I had not intended to discuss this controversial subject at this particular time. However, I want you to know that I do not shun controversy. On the contrary, I will take a stand on any issue at any time, regardless of how fraught with controversy it might be. You have asked me how I feel about whiskey. All right, this is how I feel about whiskey. If, when you say whiskey, you mean the devil's brew, the poison scourge, the bloody monster that defiles innocence, dethrones regions, destroys the home, creates misery and poverty, yea, literally takes the bread from the mouths of little children, if you mean the evil drink that topples the Christian man and woman, then from the pinnacle of righteous, gracious living into the bottomless pit of degradation and despair and shame and helplessness and hopelessness, then certainly I'm against it. At this time, the dryas in the audience rose up and made a tremendous burst of applause, but he followed on. But if when you say whiskey, you mean the oil of conversation, the philosophic wine, the ale that is consumed when good fellows get together, that puts a song in their hearts and laughter on their lips, and the warm glow of contentment in their eyes, if you mean Christmas cheer, if you mean the stimulating drink that puts a spring in the old gentleman's step on a frosty, crispy morning, if you mean the drink which enables a man to magnify his joy and his happiness, and to forget, if only for a little while, life's great tragedies and heartaches and sorrows. If you mean that drink, the sale of which pours into our treasuries untold millions of dollars, which are used to provide tender care for our little crippled children, our blind and our deaf and our dumb, our pitiful aged and infirm, to build highways and hospitals and schools, then certainly I am for it. Sweat later recalled that when I quote this, when I finished the first half of my speech, there was a tremendous burst of applause. The second half of the speech, after the close of which all the wets rapidly applauded. The dryas were as unhappy with the second as the second part of the speech as the wets were with the first. Now, the last story that I want to tell deals with something called counterintuitive wisdom. Everybody knows what intuition is. It's something that doesn't require reasoning. You just know it when you're there. And of course, young children need the protection and guidance of involved and concerned parents, teachers, as well as others involved in their care. And all of us generally wish good things for our children and grandchildren, no matter what their age. But we must remember and never forget that living and growing up in this world must include an awareness that life is not always fair. Youth growing up need our support for their own well-founded, well-rounded growth toward maturity. Nevertheless, sometimes our shielding them from stressful learning experiences that they must inevitably encounter on their march to maturity may not be entirely in their long-term best interest, nor best for the growth of their own mental and emotional health and physical well-being. Intuition has been defined as quick and ready insight, or immediate apprehension or cognition, or the ability to perceive or know things without conscious reasoning, such as an attentive parent's awareness when a small child is in danger. Counterintuition, on the other hand, has been described as what we think is contrary to common sense expectations. It is contrary to intuition, for example, when the results are surprising and counterintuitive. An instance of beneficial counterintuitive thinking is exemplified by the development of vaccines for measles and mumps and whooping cough and in the news today. Among other things, vaccines were initially developed by a French chemist named Louis Pasteur. And he lived between 1822, when he was born, and he died in 1895, the 19th century, a couple of hundred years ago. Pasteur developed a method of inoculating animals with attenuated or weakened cultures of anthrax and chicken cholera germs to protect vaccinated animals against severe attacks of such diseases by jump-starting their own immune system. And he also developed curative and preventive vaccine treatment for rabies, hydrophobia, in dogs. And he then used this treatment successfully on a child bitten by a rabid dog in 1885. And speaking of vaccines, I take it that every one of you has had your annual flu shot. The next part of this discussion, and the last of it, includes a series of instances attempting verbally, as distinguished from chemically, to inoculate young folk with valid counterintuitive advice relating to their own perspectives and reactions to several of the roadblocks they will encounter while growing up in this frequently unfair world we live in. The following quoted words were counterintuitive messages contained in an address by United States Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts on June 3, 2019, when he spoke to his son's middle school graduation class. And here's what he said. From time to time in the years to come, I hope you will be treated unfairly so that you will come to know the value of justice. I hope that you will suffer betrayal because that will teach you the importance of loyalty. Sorry to say, but I hope you will be lonely from time to time so that you don't take friends for granted. I wish you bad luck again from time to time so that you will be conscious of the role of chance in life and understand that your success is not completely deserved and that the failure of others is not completely deserved either. And when you lose, as you will from time to time, I hope every now and then your opponent will gloat over you, over your failure. It's a way for you to understand the importance of sportsmanship. I hope that you will be ignored so that you know the importance of listening to others, and I hope that you have just enough pain to learn compassion. Whether I wish these things or not, they're going to happen. And whether you benefit from them or not will depend upon your ability to see the message in your misfortune. Amen. Go ahead. Ben, you've done real good. Let's give him another big hand, folks, because he's done a lot. Anybody have an announcement they want to make? Anybody? Tommy? Julian? Right over there. Tommy over there.
Hold it close to your chin.
Real close to your chin.
Oh, where it almost touches your chin. No, let me see.
Okay, is this all right?
Nope, up higher.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. I mentioned a while ago about,
Can we have your attention, please? Everybody,
Hello, hello.
can you hear me all right?
can we have your attention?
Okay. All right. I listened to those stories a while ago, reminded me of a Halloween story. It's not Halloween, but it's not very far past Halloween.
Could you hold the talking down for a few minutes, please?
So, I have a Halloween story. It was a dark and stormy night. Not unusual in a Halloween story. And Bill and Sarah Hill were in Transylvania, which is part of Romania. I've been there. It's mountain roads like North Georgia, narrow, curvy, and they left a little after noon to go to Bucharest, where they had a hotel reserved. It began to rain, and then it began to sleet, and then it began to snow. And I'm sorry to say that on the curve, Bill lost control of his car. It hit a tree. He hit the steering wheel. Sarah was thrown out. When he woke up, he felt on the side of the seat, and he didn't feel it. So he got out of the car, found her lying on the ground. She was unconscious, but alive, but he couldn't raise her. So he picked her up and began to trudge up the road. There was, of course, no traffic, and it was a little bit uphill. So he lasted about 50 yards, fell on the ground in the road, and he thought, well, we're going to die right here. But then he happened to look over to the side, and he saw some black asphalt. He thought, that's odd. So he brushed it, and sure enough, there was more. And he brushed it a little more, and it was a driveway going downhill. So he thought, well, at least it's got to go somewhere, and it's downhill. So he picked Sarah up again and trudged down about 30 yards. The moon came out from behind a cloud, and he saw this large, ramshackle mansion with turrets and a brass knocker on the door. He thought, whoa, that looks familiar. But he trudged on up to it, knocked on the door, and then the door opened, but he didn't see anybody. And then he looked down and he saw this dwarf. He said, hello, my name is Igor. Well, that Bill was even more something. He said, well, I'm Bill and this is my wife, Sarah Hill. She's unconscious. Can we call an ambulance and have it come up from Bucharest? He said, that won't be possible. The lines are down. The storm, you know. But come in, maybe my master can help you. So with some trepidation, he goes in. Coming down this curved staircase, there's a very distinguished looking gentleman in a red velvet smoking jacket, a goatee beard, and he gets down to the bottom and he says, Igor, what is it? He said, Master, this is Bill and Sarah Hill. She's been hurt. Can you help us? He said, well, I'm Dr. Finkelstein. Bill thought, well, at least it wasn't Frankenstein. And he said, I'm a scientist, not a medical doctor, but I know a little bit about anatomy. He said, pick up Mrs. Hill and take her down to the laboratory. So they start downstairs to the laboratory and there's all these arcing lights and electricity with that Bill faints. And he falls down the stairs. So Dr. Finkelstein said, pick him up and put him on the other gallery. He said, all right. So then he starts working on him. Maybe they didn't have any spelling, so I don't know. But he couldn't browse him. And he's kind of dejected. So he goes, his master, I have an idea. Why don't you go up and play the organ? Because that always makes you come up with good ideas. Maybe you're right, Igor. I'll do that. I'll be back in about 15 minutes. You mop up the floor. Yes, master. So he goes up and starts playing the organ. Boom, ba boom, ba boom. The music permeates the castle. All of a sudden, Bill and Sarah Hill sit bolt upright in the gurneys. Igor is startled. He goes running up the laboratory stairs, up the main staircase, into the music room. Master, come quick. Come quick, Master, come quick. Igor, you know I don't like to be disturbed until I finish the piece of things. No, Master. Come now, come now. All right, Igor, what is it? He said, the hills are alive with the sound of music. You have to have guts to tell that story.
Anybody else have an announcement? Anybody? I want to remind you that our next meeting is going to be February the 12th of the new year, 2020. Any other comments? Any other comments? Thank you all for coming. See you next meeting, 3 months from today.
February 12th.
Let's give Gene a big hand for putting this together.
Yep. Thanks, Gene.
Yes. All right, ladies. Who do I see to get a new name and address put on the list? Okay. Got it? They can probably email it to whoever has it. You got a smartphone?
They're going to lose every bit of it.
Okay, I'll check on that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Show.